then the golf. Noted golf. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here. What a pleasure to be invited to participate in this very important conference. I'm going to call onto the stage my colleagues who are part of this panel, starting with Honorable Chris Mutsvangwa, the Minister of Veterans of Liberation. Chris, please. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. And then former Minister of Finance and constitutional lawyer, my brother Tendai Biti. And then last but not least, Seguru Wangu, Arsenal supporter, Nigel Chanakira, Zimbabwe Economic Society. Oh, sorry, Liverpool supporter, sorry. I thought I would shake him before he comes up and give him a team he doesn't like, which is my team. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an important conversation. I'm delighted that there was a prayer that was made as we were starting. And the verse that I want us to embrace as part of this session here is Colossians 4, verse 6. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each other. This conversation is about nation building. It's about talking about things that are important to us because like it or not like it, we have a shared destiny. This is our only home, and we need to find each other. So as I start, what I'm going to do is to give my colleagues 2 minutes, 3 minutes to touch on what they consider to be the key issues around bridging the gap between governance and economic development. And my understanding of what governance is all about is it touches on, it was interesting as we flew down, I flew down with my brother Tendai Biti, and he was reading a book on good state and bad state, eh? And yesterday, in preparation for this session, I was reading a fantastic book called Why Nations Fail, and another book called The Narrow Corridor by Darren Acemoglu and James Robinson. So what is governance? Governance is about, good governance is about transparency as far as I'm concerned. It's about accountability. It's about, I would love a free mic so that I'm not tidy, unless there are rules that I shouldn't walk around. There are no rules, eh? Okay. So it's about transparency and accountability. It's about rules. It's about responsiveness of the state. It's about equitable and inclusive growth. It's about consensus and making decisions in a consultative manner. How does governance link up to economic development? I think that's the conversation that's going to be here. And I'm going to start with the Honorable Minister. International Minister, how do you see the linkage between governance and economic development in the first instance? And then secondly, Minister, what do you see as challenges that we're facing as a nation and the opportunities that we have in this space? Over to you, Minister. I thought we would have, oh, there's another mic here, Minister. Yeah.
Thank you, Comrade Trevor. And I want to address my dear friend, Minister Biti, and my Chanakira, Nigel. I just, first of all, I want to thank the organizers for inviting me. I would have come yesterday, in which case I would have had a chance to meet many more of you and networking and get to know who you are. But in the event, I had another assignment. My boss came yesterday, the president, and I had to remain in Harare doing certain things. I had to have a press conference on topical issues. I just want to start by trying to identify whom I'm talking to in a very quick way. How many are of the CEOs or who are here, how many are from outside of Zimbabwe? Any hands? Oh, thank you. Would I quickly get to know which countries? Quickly. Yes. The other one? Thank you. The other one? Zambia. Oh, thank you. Always good to have your neighbors come to your event. There's no better support than being supported by your neighbors. So by and large, we are with Zimbabweans. I want to just be very brief in my introductory remarks and highlight a certain thing. Governance and national development. I am very happy that in the last 5 years, we have had a paradigm shift in the governance of this country, where vision is actually the driver of where we are going as a country, and that is coming from President Mnangagwa. I rooted for him to be where he is. I had experience with the former government, and I had great disappointment when I went into cabinet. And I want to be very frank with you as Zimbabweans, that if ever one day you shall read the minutes of the final 2 decades of the Second Republic, you go and pray in church like somebody was doing here to say, how did we survive? Because we basically had cattle head boys in cabinet, and the country was going nowhere. And that's what made me break with the former president. I want to show, I'm showing you in front of you, that's a picture. This is picture in Indonesia, maybe it's not in Zimbabwe. That's my wife. And in the middle is a young man. Then he is the country CEO of a company called Tsingshan Holdings, Tsingshan Group Holdings Zimbabwe. But he works for Tsingshan Holdings Global. His name is Benson Shu. He has been in Zimbabwe since 12 years ago to set up industries in Zimbabwe. That visit is 2013 at a place called Morowali in Indonesia. I think everybody has got a phone. As I speak, try to type on your phone and these following words, Morowali. I'm M-O-R-O-W-O-L-I. I need water. I am a little, I'm dry a little bit. And if you type those words, just go to images. If you type those words, Morowali Industrial Park, that's in Indonesia. So briefly, those soils are red. That means they contain iron ore. That's nickel laterite, that's nickel. We have a similar place in Zimbabwe which is red, which contains iron ore, and it is called Manise. The soils are similar. Now, if you look at that picture and then you look at your phones and see what Morowali is today, you will see the difference. It's a town of 60,000 people, and this is within this is from 2013 to where we are today. That bush becomes a town of 60,000 people with 4 Fortune 500 companies operating from that place. You see the airports which are on your phones. Now, if we had moved the same way in 2014 as the president of Indonesia did, that's what Manise would be like, exactly what is on your phone, Morowali. But I am not trying to make issue with the former government. I'm trying to arrest your mind to the fact that Manise is going to be like the pictures you are seeing on your phone. we are going to have a town of 50 to 60,000 people within the next 3 to 4 years. Why? Because of the investment in the ferrochrome, in the steel, which is at Manise, and we will be producing carbon steel. How are we doing it? We are doing it with the most competent company on the globe today in steel production. For every 4 teaspoons you have, they manufacture 1 or 2. It's called Tsingshan. Now moving where they are dealing with nickel. In Zimbabwe, they are dealing with carbon steel for construction, all the construction, including this building. You can see the other picture, which has just been flighted. This is their design for the Forbes border post for the transportation of steel to Mozambique. That's what going to be the Forbes border post for this project, for those who come from Mutare. And a new port is coming up in Mozambique. It is being built right now. It will be a port of 120,000 meters built by this company. What am I getting to? I'm saying President Mnangagwa has looked at the resources of Zimbabwe. He has seen that these resources which God was generous to give us, they are world class. And he has decided to go to seek world-class companies to come and exploit those resources so that we can have made in Zimbabwe goods for the global market in the, being produced from Zimbabwe. This is where we are going with the president. And I'm just citing steel, the carbon steel ecosystem, because it will involve ferrochrome. The whole Great Dike from Shamba to Gwanda will be mined to support the ferrochrome, to support the steel plant, which I think for those who watched the news yesterday, you saw what's happening at Manise. In December, we start producing steel. Beyond that, we are not far from Vic Falls. There is the Wange coal fields. They are now producing coking coal. We are now a major exporter to South Africa. The same company has jumped from 200,000, from zero to 3 years ago to 600,000 tons of coking coal to Zimbabwe and the region in the last 3 to 4 years, and they are going to 1 million tons. And the same company is also doing building a new town completely in Beira for the manufacture of electric batteries for the global market. They supply Tesla, they supply VW, they supply all the major, What I'm saying to you is that something big is hitting Zimbabwe. And for Zimbabweans, we have been used to say Old Mutual is a big company. Zimplats is a big company. Wake up. This is the scale at which the president is moving. A Fortune 500 company, turnover 60 billion, number 238 on the global stage. This is the company. The last point I want to add is that this is not just carbon steel where the president is focusing. In lithium, the best out of the 10 top billionaires in the whole world doing lithium, 6 are in Zimbabwe. And we will be what Saudi Arabia is with the fuel fossil industry. We will be the supplier of batteries as we move to new electric batteries. I am here to try to make you leap in your mind so that you have vision. Because I come from a generation of vision. You don't leave school and university to go to war and say, I'll die unless you have a big vision. And then that vision be realized. I am only trying to say governance and economic development requires a leap in vision. And the president is marrying our resources to the global capital, which will make this country move forward. I thank you.
I'm delighted, Minister, that you talk about our resources. I'm going to, just a quick question, Minister. What about the transparency and accountability? Are you happy, one, with the quality of the investors? You're saying they are Fortune 500 investors. What about the transparency and accountability? I'm sure to a lot of people, this is breaking news that you've just shared here. If you could just respond to that, Minister.
Transparency and you see, I deal with prejudice all the time. The moment you hear that Chinese have become investors, and then you are dealing with NGOs, then you start to think that you are being exploited. Unfortunately, that is not the truth. Zimbabwe's iron ore is far from the ocean. If we were to do like China or South Africa, I mean, if we were to do like Australia or what, we would not export iron ore because we are 600 to 700 kilometers from the ocean. That's why that place, Manise, never had any investment up to date. The difference which has come with Tsingshan is saying we are a private company of global stature. We want to produce steel at source so that we have the advantage of the availability of resources to produce at lowest cost so that we maintain our position in the world as the best producer and cheapest producer of steel. So it means that they've decided to come and invest in Zimbabwe. It means that the skills which are needed to produce steel are in Zimbabwe. It means the products which they are going to be producing world class, this is not for import, for internal consumption only. They will be produced in Zimbabwe by Zimbabweans for the global market. Now, if that is not what is called development, I don't know what else is called development. To have the resources of to have the capabilities of a world-class company come into your country and produce, and that's what everybody else does in the whole world. You go into a country, you invest, and you produce there. You are a citizen, a corporate citizen of that country, and that's what they are doing. And for just as a reminder, a rejoinder, because of the high skills level of Zimbabweans to transform them from skills, from education to skills, they've realized they don't need to bring Chinese to do a lot of these things. You Zimbabweans quickly just catch up because we jump into knowledge, from knowledge to skill better than any other country in Africa. So we are having the biggest transfer of skills, which will make Zimbabwe a world-class producer of steel parts and widgets and everything for cars, as good as any in Japan, Korea, or Germany. I thank you.